All right, we'll go ahead and get started here this morning. Hello and welcome everyone to DRJ's Mentor Program. Again, as I mentioned just a minute or so earlier, everyone's mics are on mute. So if anyone does have any questions though that you'd like us to address, just raise your hand. We have a small enough audience here today that we can unmute your mic and you can ask your question anytime during the presentation. I'm Bob Arnold, president here at Disaster Cover Journal, and joining me today is Tracy Rice with Fusion Risk Management and Nate Bridges with True North Resiliency. We're truly excited about this new groundbreaking program we're launching. We're pleased you've chosen to participate with us as we launch this pilot program through the end of the year. This industry-leading program is an accelerated learning experience that puts them path designed to promote education, opportunity, inclusion, and excellence around the exploration and evolution of all aspects of business continuity, disaster recovery, operational risk management, and any other similar terms. So, through a well-designed framework and easy-to-use online portal, participants will gain best-in-class mentor and mentee matching, facilitate goal setting, access to educational resources in the library, and encouragement and support from a growing mentor alumni group in the coming years. Although this, as mentioned earlier, we're in a pilot program is only 5 months long, the following mentor classes will be a full year in length. This will enable the mentor partnerships to establish goals and provide enough time to effectively meet these goals. And I'd also like to let everyone know that as a pilot program participant, you're more than welcome to apply to participate in the full program that kicks off in 2020. We'll be formally announcing and launching this program at our fall 2019 show in Phoenix later this year. Currently, we have about 40 participants in the pilot program, so 20 mentor and mentee matches. Our goal on this pilot program is to run a smaller class through in a shorter period of time in an effort to identify areas that we might need to address. These areas can be as simple as spelling mistakes or as complicated as too tight of deadlines set for some of the objectives. So we really do need your assistance in anything you run into that might be an issue or confusing to you. Our goal for the 2020 class is to include up to 400 participants with 200 mentor and mentee matches. Before we dive into the details of the program, DRJ would like to showcase how much work and time went into creating this new program. The team of industry professionals set out to create something much more substantial than any current program that currently exists in our space. The folks listed here have committed to serving on our mentor advisory board as we continue to fine-tune and evolve this program into the future. In total, we had over 20 experienced industry professionals providing input into this initiative. We appreciate the time and dedication these individuals have given to launching the program. The Mentor Advisory Board, we're going to be meeting regularly to kind of address and evolve and make sure the program's fully meeting the participants' needs that take their time to participate in this. And talking about some of the mission and objectives of it, I'd like to pass the mic over to Tracy Rice.
Well, thanks, Bob, and good morning to everyone on the call today. The mission of the DRJ Mentor Program aligns to the mission of our EAB Career Development Committee. And I have had the pleasure of serving on the EAB for a number of years now. And this particular committee has been in existence now for just over 1 year. And so in a very short time, we've worked together to launch several different initiatives to support career development in our industry. We've launched a book club, we've published spotlights to promote both seasoned and also new industry professionals. And now with the largest initiative of all, we're absolutely thrilled to be able to launch this pilot for the mentoring program. And unlike other mentoring programs that I've seen in the industry, we are going above and beyond just a simple email introduction. Our program is designed to foster a relationship between business continuity professionals to ensure that both mentors and mentees improve their knowledge and opportunities within the profession. Bob, if you want to go to the next slide. So the program's going to run for 10 months. It's going to run between February and November, and the mentor and the mentee are going to work together on achieving 4 main goals. And the goals are outlined here in this slide. The mentor and mentee are going to work together and develop a plan at the outset, and that plan is going to progress along specific domain career paths, whether that be business continuity, crisis management, or disaster recovery. And this will help introduce those principles and the tools and the resources and make sure that they're applied and implemented in actual practice. So we'll rely very much on the mentor's experiences as well as their knowledge to be able to help guide the mentee through this. We're going to look to acquire and maintain professional certifications, and also, champion business continuity and industry best practices through the organization of both the mentor and the mentee. So next slide, please, Bob. I think this is a fantastic statistic. 28% of mentors had a salary grade change as opposed to just 5% of non-mentors. So what a great statistic, and this demonstrates really well that a mentor is not just giving up their time and investing their experiences and their knowledge into the mentor-mentee relationship, but they're also getting something out of it as well. And I think that that's something that we want our program to highlight, and also we want to make sure that each of these individuals are getting something out of investing their time as well. So as a mentor, what do you get out of this program? So obviously you get introduced and have the opportunity to coach others in the program, but you get to grow those coaching skills, access to expand information. You get to grow your network through this new relationship with your mentee. Not only will the mentee get access to a larger network, but you will as well. There's an opportunity here to improve your listening skills, improve your overall communication skills, and really increase those coaching, those communication, and those overall management skills throughout this process. So plenty in it for the mentor and also for the mentee. Take a look at this. Mentees are 5 times promoted 5 times more often than those that are not in the mentoring program. So this investment of time for the mentee is really fantastic. An opportunity to grow, an opportunity to be able to tackle different challenges and different opportunities in the workplace in real time, an opportunity to have that support system from the mentor. Like I said, for the mentor, an opportunity to grow the network, gain exposure to different companies in the industry, different functional areas, and also gain knowledge and best practices to help be more successful in the role that you're in today, and also to open your mind to different roles and opportunities that may be in your roadmap for your career. So it's my pleasure.
Tracy, I'm sorry. I was gonna.
To turn it over to Nate, and Nate's going to walk us through what is the mentoring partnership, the process, and establishing useful goals and objectives. Go ahead, Nate.
Great. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, and good morning, everyone. And this is very exciting. We worked on this for nearly a year. With a lot of folks, like Bob mentioned. So it's exciting that we have 18 folks on the call that signed up and understand it's very important. And those statistics that Tracy ran through, we partner with Wisdom Share, and they have a lot of experience in mentoring programs. And a lot of those statistics, they helped us understand, some of their benchmarking on, the actual benefits of a mentoring program. I've been a part of them as a mentee and a mentor, and I don't always see the statistics, so that was startling, and it kind of makes sense for me. So before I get started, so we make this interactive. I'm gonna ask if anyone has any questions right now. Just click on a thing to raise your hand, and let me know if anyone have any questions or anything that we've shared so far. So I'll give you a few seconds to do that. Okay. And click on the raised hand. I don't see any raised hand on the panel. So I'll go ahead and Bob, go to the next slide. Great. So essentially, this is, what is a mentor? And we know a mentor is going to wear a lot of hats. It's someone that has a lot of experience. The mentors in this program had to meet certain requirements, and as you know, fill out the profile so we understand, their some aspects of their personality so that we can match them with an appropriate mentee. But you're going to see, based on your needs and your goals, that the person should be able to provide not just the core competencies of business continuity, crisis management, et cetera, but also just guidance, support, how to leverage those competencies effectively within your work environment. There may be a tutor. You may have some challenges that you want to share with them, but just be aware of confidentiality. The mentors understand that everything you share is confidential, and that we have a small community within business continuity when compared with other industries. So definitely set those expectations and use your judgment on what you can share and what's appropriate to share. And the mentor may provide resources, but tell you to go out and do your own research, look into it, but they may provide some directions. But that's part of the process of being resourceful and creative. As you know, in this profession, I've been around about 20 years at different companies, really trying to sharpen my creativeness and my resourcefulness. And I've had a number of mentors along the way, and I still do. And they challenge me to look into information for myself and analyze it, and then have them as a sounding board to share my recommendations or my thoughts, and that continually challenges me.
And Nate, we do have a
So that's
question.
kind of, yeah.
We do have a question from
Oh,
Michelle
okay.
came in. She said her question is, what if it's hard to schedule with your mentor? Should I reach out to someone else in the program? You could certainly reach out to any of us, probably myself or that mentor at drj.com, or just Bob at drj.com, and we'll touch base with that mentor and make sure they're still available. And if they're not available, to commit to that time, and I think it's 2 to 3 hours a month we're asking folks to commit to it. If they're not able to make that time commitment, we'll find and assign another mentor to you. So,
Great. Thanks. Good question there. And any more questions on this slide before we go to the next? Okay. So this kind of speaks to how important the partnership is. It's kind of a two-way communication, but it is a developmental relationship where a person is carving out time throughout a 10-month program to make sure that they provide you with the advice, coaching, counseling that you need based on your goals, based on the goals of the program. But if you kind of look at the 5 quadrants there, trust is very important. and it takes some time to build that rapport. So on your first meeting, we'll talk a little bit about that as well, and try to be proactive about building that rapport, sharing information about yourself, your background, your goals, to start building that trust. But that works over time. Communication, as you know, in any relationship, is going to be important. Be courageous in terms of if something is not going well, or if you feel like you don't understand some of the guidance that your mentor's giving you. Mentors, as you know, ask for clarity to understand what's being asked of you, so that you understand what kind of coaching is needed. And that's why the goal setting is so important, to kind of level set on what the goals are, how they can help you, what's important to you. And especially this pilot is congested in 5 months. So you may want to talk about what you want to focus on to get the most out of the 5 months. And of course, you're invited to participate when the official 10-month long program kicks off. But as you know, communication is going to be important. We ask for commitment, so that all the things you did to even log in, to sign up, that's showing your commitment to the time that is going to be invested in this program to get the most out of it. But if for some reason something happens, we know life happens, you have something maybe at work, maybe it gets busy in a given month, but just communicate with each other so that the mentor doesn't feel like maybe too many demands are being put on them. So make sure you agree on how you're going to communicate, how many calls you will have a month, what makes sense. You may have a few more than you do in a given month based on what's happening, but just keep the communication lines open, and that shows that commitment and putting the time to make sure that the mentor mentee get the most out of the relationship as possible. And then once again, the confidentiality is always important. You want to feel like you can share information. There may be people you know in common. That's a possibility. So definitely always maintain that respect and confidentiality, and that maintains the credibility of our program. So you guys, you are the inaugural program. This is we're going to road test the program. There's going to be some bumps in the road. Keep in communication with us as well as the program administrators. Let us know what you think should change, and then we can document that and have a discussion about it. So we definitely want your feedback as you go through the program. Any questions on that slide on the partnership? This is a quiet audience, so definitely let's make it interactive. If you have any questions, let us know. We actually are recording this, so anything you think that will benefit others that couldn't attend today will be beneficial. So we're on the next slide, but any questions at this point? Once again, you have to raise the hand. We know that's kind of, that doesn't always flow, but I'm looking here. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the mentor role. And as you know, if you've been a mentor, this is not an exhaustive list. However, when you think about these responsibilities, as you build rapport, build trust, when you start actually going into the core competencies and discussing how do you leverage it effectively, you're going to stretch and challenge that mentee's thinking by providing examples of your experience at different companies, maybe when you was in a similar role as that mentee. So you, in some cases, you may have been in their shoes. You may be in a leadership role now, and I think bridging that gap is going to be helpful. I think bullet point 4, you guys can read this yourselves, but I think bullet point 4 is very important because it's good to have a sounding board for ideas, concerns, and as a mentee, coming to your mentor with your thoughts about what course of action should be taken, but they're not there to solve the problem and make the decision for you. They're there to maybe kind of stir the pot based on the situation at hand. kind of helping you drive the decision that is best for you, but not necessarily sitting there and they're there to answer those problems and make decisions for you. And that's part of your discussion with your mentor, and for the mentors to make sure that comes up, what you're comfortable doing. We're not prescribing a relationship, but these are definitely best practices to have discussion around. So when I meet with my mentor, I'm going to have some discussion around if they could connect me with other folks and how can they help grow my professional relationship. And that takes time for them to, well, I'm going to get to know you, Nate, a little bit so I could, kind of refer you with confidence, so to speak. So take some time to get to know your mentor, and from the mentor to get to know their mentee, and to build that trust over time, because all this is not going to happen by magic. It's going to take some time. But once again, these are the best practices here. Any questions on mentor role? So for mentees, you're going to be driving this relationship to some degree. So I would emphasize how important it is for you to be, proactive and do that self-reflection and on what goals would you like to attain, what are your objectives, especially for the 5-month pilot that should end around November. So really think about and prioritize what you want to focus on in this 5-month period. Be prepared to provide your mentor with any kind of feedback. Make sure it's constructive, of course. Don't be like me. I'm from New York, so I could be kind of rude. but you get the point. Provide that feedback if you feel like they moving too fast, maybe through the roadmap, which we'll discuss. Speak up and communicate and let them know which aspects of that core competency would you like to focus on, because everyone has to have at least a certain amount of experience. I know everyone on this call is not brand new to business continuity, but be honest around where you're at in your career. What behaviors have you observed that you would like to talk more about? Maybe you've seen someone facilitate a challenge and exercise really well, or they've been able to manage upward and influence the program to different directions, influence leadership to invest in the program. You may have observed some kind of ideas, but you may want to look at, well, what are some of the tactics and how you do that? And when you do that type of self-reflection, I think you get more out of the relationship, and that takes that commitment. I guess that last bullet point, we know that if you don't find a match for some reason, definitely if there's, and I'm going to say if there's any issues and the relationship is not working out, once again, no one's going to take it personal. Have the communication and talk about what's working, what's not, and we'll help you find another match. But let's even that process itself, definitely provide us your feedback on how best to manage that situation. And then if you're not matched yet, like me, I'm a mentor in the program, and I'm not matched yet, so I'm standing by for a mentee as well. But I think this is important where I didn't realize this, that when I was in mentor programs as a mentee, that it was up to me to be proactive around scheduling meetings, maybe a challenge here because we may not have access to each other's calendars, working at different companies and such. So be proactive and creative around what your availability is, and if there needs to be a time change, kind of drive those proactive behaviors with your mentor. So this is a mental life cycle that may seem intuitive, but this is how when we look at our tool, the Wisdom Share tool, which I think is great because you're going to be able to communicate also within the tool and track goals. So that this is really the 4 kind of the components of this relationship, and that orientation piece As you see, there's a theme on establishing rapport and building trust and setting goals, because you may need to reset that along the way. You may have had some goals, and now, okay, 3 months into it, your manager wants you to transform the BIA. And now you're like, look, I know we got this roadmap, but I'm going to need some guidance on a new direction, and maybe I could get some ideas on if you now have to address a MRA now, right? And you need some guidance on that. So we realize that may be, once again, we're prescribing the program so we can manage it effectively, but definitely you may have to do a reset. Establishing rapport and trust goes throughout the relationship, even when the program is over, if you should choose to stay in touch. But that orientation, take time and effort in preparing for that first meeting. We're going to talk about that. Share information about yourself, about your family, what your hobbies are, where you went to school, if you was in the military. I think everyone has access to LinkedIn and maybe even resumes or CV. So do a little homework about your mentor and your mentee. So when you do have that first meeting, you can you're not like starting from like, okay, you're just going to open up that LinkedIn 2 minutes before the meeting, put some time into that. That implementation phase is really the primary building of that knowledge, those competencies, those soft skills that you need in order to be effective. And every situation is going to be a little different based on your company, industry, your team. Some folks have smaller programs where they have a lot more responsibility, without the big title. Where you may be in a big program with 500 or 600 business continuity people, when it's really hard to know where to fit in. So this one-on-one relationship is going to be important, and there's tremendous value in how you articulate your specific situation, how best that mentor can help you. As we move into closure of the program, we do have some fun things as well as some recognition with the formal program, where I don't know if Bob want to kind of talk a little bit about that, or Tracy, in terms of how we recognize when you successfully graduate for the program, and how we try to keep this relationship going even though it's informal. I don't know, Bob or Tracy, want to touch on that a little bit around some of the
Sure. Upon
things?
graduation,
Yeah.
sure. Upon graduation of the mentor program, we're gonna create digital badges for folks to share that they are official DRJ alumni out of the mentor program. We're also going to offer roundtable discussions. We're gonna try and really create a group sort of setting of this alumni, and just we're going to offer discounts, things like that, to get them to the shows. We're also going to have formal meetings at the events itself in both spring and fall DRJ shows to try and really create this sort of camaraderie amongst the alumni. So there's several items, and we'll share that as it becomes more formalized on the exact program of that. But we have many tools we're going to utilize to sort of really promote the alumni group.
Thanks. And I'll ask some questions now. I mean, we have some attendees, about 20 on. I'd like to definitely hear some additional voices on your thoughts on that implementation piece. Maybe some of the more experienced mentors, if they talk about how sometimes the cadence can be different.
We have Larry Chase with a question. Larry, I'm muting you now. So Larry, you should be able to. You there, Larry? Must be having some mic issues. So
You off mute there, Larry, on your phone? And while we're waiting for Larry, if there's anyone else with any other questions, any of the mentors, mentees. Okay. Well, Larry, circle back when you fix the technical issues. So on that closure, moving the ideas forward, you may agree that as the program winds down, that you would like to keep in touch whether it be informal or continuing a formal relationship outside of the DRJ mentoring program. And that's typical. I have a lot of informal relationships with former mentors, and maybe they become a coach. And then as my career progressed, I become in a position to maybe provide guidance and assistance to them as well. So things sometimes kind of come full circle, where that's the whole point of the relationship. As you evolve and they evolve, we win by helping each other and keeping the stay connecting with each other and networking and try to keep that interaction going.
And Michelle has a comment as well. Treat the meetings as you would any workplace meeting. Don't think of it as an extracurricular activity.
That's a good point. Now, I would say, as you may want to have an agenda if necessary. You may want to make sure that when you're having these monthly calls with your mentor, you want to get the most out of it. So you may want to try to formalize it. So that's a good point. Have it in an agenda. Make sure you keep track of time, save time for questions. And if you had any, a recap of what you learned last month. So if we had a meeting in May, and maybe my mentor gave me some homework to do, to validate my knowledge. And maybe you had that meeting and you want to save time in that next meeting to do a brief recap of how that went. But definitely, as you would treat it like a day-to-day meeting at work, you can send emails, but just agree on, is it okay to use their work email? So you can communicate via email or within a tool, so that communication is important, so that you get the most out of the short time you're together during any given month. So it's a good question there, Michelle. That's a good point to mention. So you're not treating it as a casual relationship. You want to be, professional as well. Okay, Bob, I'm going to go on to the next slide. So setting expectations in any relationship is important. You're going to establish your goals as you look at the roadmap, and the different soft skills and your personal objectives and goals of what you want to learn. Make sure that those are SMART goals. That I never remember what the acronym is, but what SMART, measurable, attainable, and I can't think of what the other, but it's the SMART goals. And we do have some tools and quick reference guides within the tool that you can click on and PDFs and download. So we try to make these tools available to you, so you can reference it, that you're always going through. So, you have some guidelines and kind of limit the need to Google. Once again, it is mentee driven. So when you have that first meeting, look at the timeline for recurrent meetings. You may be in different time zones, so make sure you be mindful of that. And if you have some big things happening in a given month, just let each other know. Well, maybe there's a big audit that's coming in August, and your time may not be that available. Just keep aware of what's happening, so that you can keep these meetings, but keep that communication going as you set appointments. And we're gonna have to reschedule, and that can become a challenge when you don't have access to each other's calendars. So keep that in mind. Rescheduling may not be that tactical, where you just can't look at the calendar and find the open slot. You're gonna have to email them and find availability. But in the beginning, let each other know. If the mornings typically work well, let them know that. So you have a target time for afternoons or certain day of the week. So keep that going. We know it could change, and then that will limit some frustration, because as program administrators, we'll be monitoring as well in the tool. Is things going according to plan? Are you meeting those and goals? Part of the goal is meeting monthly, so we want to keep monitoring and track. So if you're starting to miss too many meetings, it may start to congest things. And a pilot is a congested 5 months, so always keep that in mind. The matching should have helped with the mentoring style. I know I had to complete questions around my personality type, kind of the Myers-Briggs, type questions. So if you was honest then hopefully, the mentor and mentee matching algorithms were kind of worked good, so that you're not 2 or 3 months into it and you're like, this is not working out. Your styles are too different, and the mentor should set the expectation on their particular approach to mentoring, whether there be discussion and there be homework or follow-up, or how you prefer to go through the roadmap. So everyone has their own preference. So during this pilot, kind of let us know how things went, or was it too prescriptive? Do you need more tools? Need more upfront discussion, training? So kind of keep us informed, and that's what this meeting is about. It's relatively self-explanatory, but we want to get any questions on the front end so that, and we could, share that with everyone on the call. But of course, if you have some feedback or questions, send it to the Mentoring Program email address.
We do have a couple
Okay.
questions here, Nate. Cole's asked a couple questions. Do we wait for a mentee to reach out to us, and how will they reach us? So if I can answer that, if they have successfully matched you within the system, and basically the mentee would request you to be your mentor or their mentor, you'd accept it, and then admin we'd go in and officially approve it. At that point, they should reach out to you via the tool, and that will send an automated email to your email address on file. So the mentee should be one reaching out to the mentor. And then Larry has a question. Been mentoring folks in the industry for 15 plus years. When can we start? Larry, I'm going to try and unmute you one more time here, just to see if you can expand on that question a little bit more. When can you start? Once you're a match, you can start immediately. If that's the question. If it needs further explanation, you could certainly let us know.
Okay, great. Thanks for those questions. To Larry's point, preparing for this first meeting, and I don't know if anyone on the call has already had their first meeting, but these are just, as you know, this is self-explanatory with respect to any new relationship, especially as professional. Try to review the LinkedIn profile, any resume, look at the goals that the mentee has and how best you could achieve them, and what's the approach to achieving them. Is it just weekly? Is it monthly meetings? How often should you meet? Exchanging emails, set expectations on when you would expect to hear back from each other. So make sure that there's a sense of urgency with the relationship. And if you feel like maybe the communication is lacking, then pick up a phone and contact your mentee or mentor. And so it shouldn't just all be email back and forth. If I'm sending someone 2 emails and I haven't heard back from them, then I'm picking up a phone. So definitely take take the initiative, because it is a two-way relationship. I would say, before I go to the next slide, these next steps with respect to how you're going to do your meetings. Are they 30 minutes? Are they 1 hour? Just really set up, and you may need flexibility. Maybe some topics, like if it's BIA, it may take 2 months. May take a few meetings to kind of cover at a high level. The mentee should have an idea of what's involved with a BIA, so they're not necessarily having basic questions. It looks like we may have a few questions. I see a question mark with Peter Laz there.
Correct.
Bob?
Just about ready to chime in on it. Peter asked if we could make these slides available to the mentors. We'll actually share them with everybody. We'll also upload them into the Wisdom Share tool, and it's for everybody to basically review at that point. And we're also recording it. Everyone that's on here, as well as missed it here today, will certainly have access to the recording. So.
Great. And the last point on this slide is agree on ways that both of you ensure you're on the right track. So as you go through the process, and just keep the communication lines open. If you're not sure you're understanding some of the competencies, principles, or how to effectively leverage it, communicate that to your mentor. If you need additional resources, reading material, if you want to be, any kind of recommendations on websites, etc., you can look into it to yourself, or you can ask, if your mentor is aware of things that you can take it a step further, anything that you've discussed. And it's not all business continuity related. It could be, presentation skills, influencing skills that you need to be successful, in any career. So you will find that there's resources that's going to be non-specific to the core competencies of our field. And feel free to recommend that. Yeah, go ahead, Bob. Sorry.
Another question from Phil came in here. Is this beta program 5 months, and after that, it will be 10 months long? Correct. The pilot program's going to run just through the end of this year in a very condensed form, just trying to identify issues and hiccups along the way. And then the 2020 class will run the full 10 months. So registrations will begin beginning of January of 2020 with the mentor program actually rolling out February 1 of 2020 and then ending in November of 2020. So it'll be 10 months long starting in 2020.
Great. Okay, let's go on to the roadmap and goals. When the program officially start is around February, and that means in January we'll be doing all the matching and teeing up all the participants into the program. So ideally, it'll be starting in February. So you can see it kind of maps to, if you have to initiate a program or transform it, maybe there was some kind of a merger, as you like. A good example, like SunTrust, BB&T, you have to merge business continuity programs. So program initiation could start based on, okay, what's the new program going forward? If there was a significant audit issue, you may have to transform the program. A lot of folks may not get the opportunity to do that. So there may be, a lot of discussion around that. As you see, like April, May, June, July, in some aspects, say the June and July, we felt like the business impact analysis and transformation or process improvement of it probably may take a couple of months or 2 calls, two mentoring sessions to really cover that in detail. But it depends on the experience of the mentee, or maybe something they actually have in place and something happening where they need to go on a deeper dive. So look at this roadmap, as a team, as a mentor-mentee team, and out the gate, just kind of talk around, okay, October, maybe crisis management is something that is not really that vital. So you just have to prioritize the discussion around that, discuss why, and maybe you have no interest in that, or another group handles that and your company. So kind of look at this roadmap and determine where you need to spend the most time. And what we don't have is all the soft skills that you need in order to do this effectively. Meeting facilitation, working across different groups, dealing with difficult people, managing upward when you have executives that are also hearing from compliance, they're hearing from risk, they're hearing from audit, and now they're hearing from you. So as we know, there's a lot of soft skills, and I think that's where a mentor could provide tremendous value, because a lot of this you could read about these professional practices and these different standards that we have, ISO. You can read about it, but don't necessarily tell you, well, now what do I do? So look at those goals, be prepared to discuss that with your mentor. And as you develop the relationship along the way, we know you may need to reset and reprioritize, what you had planned to learn a few months ago. So let's keep those open communication lines open.
Nate, we're going to go ahead and see if we can unmute Lawrence Robert. He has his hand raised with a question.
Okay.
Lawrence?
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yep.
So after this pilot program is completed, would we have to reapply in 2020 as new mentors again, or would we just continue on at that point?
You would just continue on, but you would establish, I'm assuming, with a new, well, unless you're happy with your current mentor or mentee, you would certainly be available to rematch with a new individual.
Okay, good.
So you wouldn't need to apply.
Okay, good. Also, on this screen that we have up right now, is this the way you want us to approach it on a month-by-month basis, or will it stay fluid enough to whereas we can deviate from this depending on what's going on with the mentor-mentee relationship?
My personal thoughts are you can deviate any which way that makes sense for you and your mentor or mentee. This is basically just giving you a guideline and a roadmap if you wish to follow it.
Perfect. Thank you. Good.
Sure. Do you agree, Nate?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we know, I think we could agree that these aspects of business continuity is very important, but we know that cyber and different aspects of our partner groups and IT, you know, there may be some energy around how do we how integrate, you know, the mentee. The mentee may need to see how to integrate and do a cyber business continuity test. So this definitely is, we want to make sure people come out this program with a consistent level of knowledge on how to apply, you know, these important aspects. So we have some consistency in the program, but we know you need to be fluid and flexible for it to be successful. Just keep the communication lines open, even with us. If you feel like you're deviating completely and your mentee wants to know about cybersecurity, and then it's okay, that's a different program. But I'm 100% in agreement on the flexibility that we need in order for this to be successful.
All right, we have another hand raised from Phil. So Phil, I'm going to unmute your mic here. Go ahead, Phil, if you can.
Okay, I'm here. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, this is more of an expectations question. Let's just choose May, say the risk and threat assessment. Now, some of the mentees will have a BC tool, a good possibility, and so forth. But as far as strategy or artifacts, or, I mean, is it the mentee that comes to the mentor to kind of work them through their whatever they've generated up until now, or is the methodology and strategy and what I call artifacts, is the mentor expected to come up with those? So this is more of an expectations kind of thing.
I'll take a stab at that. Like, you know, you're not expected to share anything confidential. So if you know you're a particular company, you're not expected to share your BIA methodology with me. It's more discussion around the common industry standards around these different aspects of business continuity. So if it's risk assessment and threat assessment, what are the industry standards, some of the best practices that are out there that we know, so that you're not sharing confidential information, but at least we know what components should be in these different artifacts, what should include based on the nature of your company, and how to integrate, say, reputation, how to measure that. It may be more deeper discussion than around just what fields should be, but definitely maintain confidentiality. And if you're able to share something from your past, or you know, then that's up to the mentee and mentor what they can share, a deck or something that is a work in progress. So you know, definitely use your best judgment, but we're not definitely going to police that kind of stuff. Does that answer the question? I want to make sure that I answer that question appropriately. Anyone else want to chime in on that? Tracy, anyone?
Yeah, no, that you helped out quite a bit. Thank you much. I just know there's
great.
a lot of people on the phone's been working a lot of years, and they have their own kind of
Yeah. I know, and that's the value.
So I just want to know what the
sharing,
expectations were more than anything else. Thank you.
You're welcome. You know, and as we try to work with company partners in the future, that, well, if in time it seems like while we have a lot of folks that are coming through this program are making an impact, then we start developing that reputation for this program as we get feedback from mentors, from mentees, and we integrate it. You know, I think employers are going to want to know, wow, are we maintaining confidentiality? Are folks sharing, confidential information that's proprietary. So we definitely want to, make sure we use our best judgment on anything that seems to be some kind of proprietary methodology. Definitely, I wouldn't recommend, sharing that kind of stuff, but you can discuss best practices and how to leverage. But once again, we all know that's a great area there. Good discussion. Any more questions? I mean, we got like 200 or 300 years of experience on this call, and I'm looking at the attendee list. Even as we do this pilot, any feedback or questions or recommendations from the mentors and mentees as we try to do this 5-month pilot and get as much out of it as we can, knowing that this is really outlined for a 10-month program.
Yeah, and there's another question here from Ruben that came across. Are there plans to promote this program during the fall DRJ conference? I'm in IT, continuity, disaster recovery, and I'm unable right now to find a match in my region. Most certainly, and as we go wider scale, because again, on this pilot program, we only took currently, I think there's 40-something active participants in the program. So the chances of finding a perfect match in the pilot program are going to be much smaller than once we go a much broader scale in the bigger program with 200 plus matches, 400 participants. So, and we are going to do a huge launch, formal launch of the program at the fall conference. And then basically from September on through December, we're going to be really hitting it hard on social, on email marketing and print marketing, everything, trying to go much more wide scale with this program. And again, to Nate's topics on looking for feedback, we certainly want any and all feedback as you move through the program. Any hiccups, anything that might seem confusing to you upon registration, upon the mentor relationship, anything that you run into, we certainly want to know about those items because it allows us to adjust accordingly as we go much broader scale release of this program. And also stay tuned as we move into the next several months. We have many items we're talking about and working on, such as documents, webinars, templates, and things like that we're considering to add to help support and enhance the educational aspect of the program. So if there's anything you can think of that we can add, especially from an educational standpoint, certainly just let us know on that as well. It looks like
I'm excited about the there's another question coming in.
Yes, Michelle had another question. The mentor won't have more than one mentee, correct? Once a mentor has already been chosen, will they be removed from the list? They will, and we actually had one case, I don't know who it is off the top of my head, but there was one mentor that accepted 2 mentees, but we have adjusted that accordingly now, and we do suggest and recommend only one-on-one mentor partnership relationships, mentor-mentee relationships. So.
Yeah, Bob, I wanted to emphasize, the webinars, kind of trying to schedule joint learning opportunities for the mentees, and the mentors could join as well, and having a hosted conference call where a speaker is discussing, something that's a vital topic. So right now we're gathering different ideas for kind of hard-hitting topics like what is organizational resiliency? What does that really mean? How to integrate with cyber, HR, corporate comm, these things that we know is a challenge to do, and as a part of the program, offer up maybe 3 or 4 of those, where we have a speaker and it's a joint learning and an opportunity to even network, even though it's virtual, it's an opportunity for the other mentees to hear the voices of their counterparts and ask questions. But I think that also is another value add that some of us may have experienced. So it's not just a monthly one-on-one meeting, that you're going to have the opportunity to supplement this with other relevant and hard-hitting topics that you necessarily just can't read in a book. And we're trying to line up some speakers as well to present and provide a deck and some lessons learned maybe outside of these meetings. So that I'm excited about that.
All right. We do run our DRJ webinar series too every Wednesday, and that's always another opportunity for educational things, especially as you approach, certain roadmap or goals or objectives. You could certainly look at the DRJ on-demand webinars. We have a year's worth of on-demand or webinars out there at your disposal. You could basically view at your convenience.
And this is a global program, so we do have some global mentors and mentees, because as we know, there's a lot of different standards out there, and there's country standards, there's ACEs, there's NIST, and that's relevant to business continuity and to our other partners that we work with. So definitely, when you look at the best practices, industry standards, country specific, that's definitely an expectation to where relevant. Share that, because as you see, we didn't name anything specific, any of the ISOs, any of the BCIs, DRIs, and because we know we don't want to be prescriptive, but we also know that your personal experience is what's of value, and that's what you can't read in a book. You're going to be able to share that experience of how you leveraged these various standards and best practices, in your various work experience. So this is the last slide for the roadmap goals. Any other questions, recommendations before we move on? Okay.
So perfect.
And so to wrap up, I'll turn it over to Bob to wrap it up.
Yeah, certainly. And again, from DRJ's perspective, we just want to appreciate or thank everybody for their time. Not only the 20 plus folks that have contributed their time and their experience and their thoughts around this program, developing it, but we also appreciate all of your participation in this pilot program, as we really have some big expectations of this program for the industry, especially as free of charge. It's certainly going to be something big that we hope you've certainly helped and developed to that level, and ensure its evolution makes it effective for all the participants in the future years, and again, creating that alumni group that we can sort of tap as real industry professionals as a resource is going to be perfect. So again, our big thing is looking out for any feedback you have as you move through this program. So any parting words here today, Tracy or Nate?
I'll go. I just want to once again thank everyone on the call for taking the time to participate, and we know mentoring is important, and even the mentees, and then all the folks. Some of the mentors that helped design this program are actually on the advisory committee. They're continuing as being mentors within the program. Like Cynthia Dominguez from Dominican Republic is on, Jocelyn Jones. So this is outstanding how we come together as industry to help each other and to further industry. This is just so exciting to me, and this is I'm just excited about this, and I'm kind of at a loss for words. So I appreciate the support.
I've never heard Nate lost for words. I echo the excitement. I think it's a fantastic initiative, and I'm really impressed with how many people in the industry are expressing interest, either as a mentor, as a mentee. And Bob, I see that just going to grow exponentially over time. So thank you to DRJ for all that you have done to put this program together, and I think it's revolutionary, and I think it's super exciting. So excited to be part of it.
Wonderful, thanks. And again, Nate and Tracy have been instrumental in rolling this program out. So just the amount of work those two, as well as the entire advisory board, have put into this has been seriously impressive and appreciated. So again, thanks for everyone for their time here today, and look forward to hearing from everyone. And that email you'll see on the screen, that mentor@drj.com, is a great email to reach out to us. It'll go to the entire team on the mentor program. So again, this now ends today's webinar. Again, looking for everyone's feedback and look forward to hearing from everyone soon. Thanks a bunch. Thanks for your time.
Great.
Thanks, Bob.
Great.